Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, winter edition 2026. Snow was almost gone. It was raining yesterday. A little bit over here on this side, but not that much. And then, of course, the big pile where we threw the snow from the deck. So otherwise that would be gone. But because it was piled really high from the deck, that side is still going. All right. So I'm Mona. This is my morning view and winter edition 2026. Not sure if I said that. Doggy is here, right there, star of the show. Toy in mouth. Almost said toy in hand. She's feeling better. She's feeling better. Not leg wise, of course, but she's feeling better. Not all drugged up like she was yesterday. So we have to wait 24 to 48 hours. It's been 24, so maybe we'll get some word today. That would be nice, to find out what's going on with her, and go from there. All right. She's still on medication. She's still taking medication to calm her down, so she's not as active. But when you're play motivated, she pushes past that. She pushes past it. Where are you at? There she is. She pushes past it and wants to play regardless of everything. So I have to stick my hand into my pocket because it is 32 degrees, even though it is a beautiful, beautiful day. I have a little bit of snow flakes dusting my deck, not a lot, kind of in the grooves and stuff. So yeah, there's still some ice. There's still ice. The dark parts of the deck, that's ice. So I do have to be careful walking around here. It's still winter. It's still winter. Okay, I'm just trying to stall to figure out what I'm going to talk about. I kind of have something on my mind that right before I started the live that popped up, and it was like, I don't know. Well, it is Fiesty Friday, so Fiesty Friday, here we go. All right, so this is the thought. Mean girls. Mean girls. Mean Girls, you get the picture of, maybe the movie or maybe you remember from when you were a kid and the Mean Girls, or maybe you were one of the Mean Girls. So you get that picture of the Mean Girls, the ones that taunt those that they think are lower than them. And I have discovered in my journey, in my walk, that, Christians are not exempt from that mean girl mindset, that mean girl attitude. I've seen it plenty of times. I'm not playing with you. You still have a hurt ankle. Yes, your leg still hurts, so we're not playing. Look at this. This is what she does to me. She bears her eyeballs right at me, and it's like it's just staring right at me, and it's like, have you ever had anybody do that? You're trying to talk and somebody's staring at you, like not just staring at you, but staring at you. yeah. So that's what she does to me. That's what she does to me, and that's why sometimes I get very distracted, because she tries to lure me in, and sometimes I'll forget and I'll bend over and I'll pick up the toy, and it's like, oh, no, we're not doing this. Yeah, you. I'm not being a mean girl. No, not being a mean girl. You're limping. Oh. Miss Limpet. Why don't you go potty? Not worry about the toy. Never. All right. So, going right along about Mean Girls. Okay, so I have discovered that Mean Girls are not just girls that are in the world and about worldly things, and how the movie portrays them, that they're all kind of rich and got the stuff, and they got the looks, and they got the the body shape, and they got all the stuff. They got all the right stuff, but they have a really hard, cold stone heart. And they really don't care about anybody but themselves. And yet, I have seen mean girls in the Christian realm. And I've seen them make looks at people. I have seen them exclude. See, today, I'm wearing orange. I'm wearing orange because at school this week it's called Inclusion Week. And orange represents that you include everybody. And so, with that, kind of a good catalyst for Fiesty Friday is this thing about excluding people for one reason or another. Now, I can understand that there's some people that are very negative, and they can't seem to get out of their own negative way. And what happens with that is eventually, working with kids, I see this, that eventually other kids just shy away from them. They just don't want to play with them because it's like, you bring me down. You're so negative that I just don't even want to be around you. It's really a damper in the atmosphere when somebody is always negative. Now, I'm not talking about when people are going through stuff, because I have seen kids where a kid is going through something and they're sad, and their friends all rally around them, even the ones that aren't really their friends, but they have this compassion about them, that they all rally around them to give them a hug and see that they're okay, and all of that. We're not talking about every now and then something happens and the kid is sad. We're talking about when you're negative all the time, and our people are like, I'm done with it, and they back away, right? But that doesn't mean you're a mean girl. That just means that you don't want to have your spirit grieved by somebody else's negativity moving into your space and constantly occupying that space, right? But you don't be mean to them either. You might want to say, hey, the reason I've backed away is because you're always in this negative mode. And if you're always going to stay in this negative mode, it just brings me down, and I don't want to be brought down. So I'm choosing to stay away from you for right now. Doesn't mean forever, and it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be there for you if you need me. But it's you got to have some boundaries with your life, right? You've got to have some boundaries with your life, and to protect your spirit, to protect your soul, to protect your mind. And what we hear on a constant, I've talked about this week, about what goes into this ear does not get eliminated from the body. It goes into the subconscious mind if your conscious mind has nothing for it to do at the moment. So, it'll roll around in your conscious mind for a little bit, but then it goes down into the subconscious mind to be stored for later, because it's just information. And so, at any given time, when something happens, that information can be retrieved, and then your actions may be affected by whatever information your brain has stored, because it doesn't decide whether something is bad or good. The brain does not decide bad or good. So it all just gets stored as information. And so, and that may be a concept that you didn't think before, because you're like, oh, what do you mean the brain doesn't know the difference between bad or good? The science behind the brain doesn't decide whether something is bad or good. Okay? Now, we have categorized and learned things that says, oh, this is good and this is bad. But when it's just information, it's just stuff coming in, the brain itself does not determine whether it's bad or good. Trying to figure out how to explain that a little bit better. Because you're sitting there going, but I know what's bad or good, and that's coming from my brain. Let's make it this way. Your conscious brain knows between bad or good. Your conscious brain, but your subconscious brain does not. All right. So there does have to be boundaries about being around somebody who's negative, somebody who doesn't, they're just void of joy. And when they're void of joy, why? What is it that's causing them to be void of joy? Is it something they're ignorant to how, and I say ignorant not in the sense of stupidity, as in you don't know. If you don't know, that means you're ignorant of the subject matter. Okay, it's not derogatory. They may be ignorant to how to get out of that mode. Maybe they need somebody to help them. I don't want to be negative all the time, but I don't know any other way. It's quite possible. It may be a learned behavior from home. It may be a generational curse. It could be, any number of reasons why this individual is constantly negative. And so you may want to walk them through, if they're willing and wanting, to come out of that negative space. And then, once they're out of that negative space, they have to maintain that. Because that is not a once and done. Just like peace is not a once and done. That's why I talk about walking in peace daily. Because if you think it's a once and done, well, it's not. It is not a once and done. So, when somebody is being negative a lot, their habit, their go-to, their triggers in their brain go to that negative space, and they have to be conscious to stop it. They have to say, absolutely not, I'm not going to think that way right now. Bringing all our thoughts to God. All of our thoughts. I don't know how many times I've talked about this, but it's one of those things that it has to be maintained. It can't just be once and done. You're consciously thinking about your thoughts and dealing with them. You deal with your thoughts. There are some thoughts that you deal with. There are some thoughts that you shelve until you're in a better space, a better mind frame to deal with them. And then there's those that you shouldn't be thinking at all. And the only way to not think of them is to replace them with another thought. So if you have negative thoughts, then you need to think about positive thoughts. So you have to replace those negative thoughts and consciously think about positive thoughts. It's hard work. I'm not saying it's an easy process. Okay? It's an easy concept, but it's not necessarily an easy process. It's not easily activated. It's not easily done. So if that's the reason why, maybe people look at you as being a mean girl, then you can be clear of conscious of that, because you're just setting boundaries for yourself. Now, if you're going to look down on that person like they are less than, oh, they're weird, I don't want to be seen with them because they're weird. Well, who are you, Miss Toddy Toddy? Right? Because somebody's weird? Because somebody's not fitting into the mold of what you think is the right way to be or look or Because they have like really kinky hair and yours is straight. Maybe yours is wavy and theirs is cut real short, or maybe it's a little scraggly. Maybe they didn't get a chance to comb their hair this morning. They came in with bedhead, and it's like, and you're gonna sit there and judge them because they have bedhead, because you look perfect. You got your makeup on perfect. You're wearing the right clothing that fits you perfectly, and they're wearing clothes that don't fit them quite right. You know, I can talk about these things like that because I still do. But I grew up with hand-me-downs, and not everybody that gave me hand-me-downs was my size, was my build. So I made do with what I could, with what I had. And we didn't take showers every day. So sometimes my hair got greasy looking because I didn't take a shower every day. We grew up in the mountains. We had an outhouse. There was a tub that we used to bathe ourselves. Later on, as I got older, we did have a tub. We did have indoor plumbing, but it wasn't perfect indoor plumbing. And then my dad had hooked up the hot water heater to the wood stove. And so in the summertime, we didn't have warm showers. No. So there was times, and we woke up really, really early to go catch the bus. And the school was very far away. And so if you didn't have time to take a shower, then you skipped it that day. And so I looked like that ragamuffin. Clothes, hand-me-down clothes that didn't fit right. Greasy hair. And I was looked down upon. So I get it. I understand that mode of dealing with the mean girls. There was some mean boys too, but so I get that. But I thought that in the Christian realm, everybody would be loving, everybody would be kind, everybody would be, that accepting, including others, because we all believed the same thing. But it still was going on, even in the Christian realm. The mean girls, and I'm not putting that on an age. I'm not putting that on an age, because I still see it happening even in older people, older ladies. I don't see it in guys as much, because I don't think guys care as much. But, the ladies it's like, you have to look like me, walk like me, talk like me. And if you don't, you're excluded. If you don't, then you don't have the right stuff to be around me. I don't want to be seen with you. And that should not be. The only reason you should exclude somebody is when you're protecting your own space spiritually. If somebody's doing witchcraft, then you know it. You have these teenagers, they go over to other people's houses and participate in whatever activities they're doing in the night, at these sleepovers. Oh, what's it going to hurt to do a Ouija board? What's it going to hurt to do, these games? It's not going to hurt. It's fun. We're having fun at the overnighter, and they're if that's happening and you exclude that friend from you for that time, you're like, man, you got to make better choices. Because I don't want to have any open doors. I don't want to have any spaces where I invite things in to my life just because you want to hang out with these other girls and do things the way of the world, and then not want to be, and then come back and hang out with me. I can hang out with you, but we may not have that intimacy of best friends, besties, because I'm just protecting myself from the environment that you're bringing. And so, again, that's not being a mean girl. That's protecting your spirit. But when you have that attitude of, well, I don't want to be seen with them because they're weird. I don't want to be seen with them because, well, they're a sinner. And I'm not talking about, like I said, you're not going to be besties. You're not going to be besties. You can still include them to be a witness to them, to be a strength to them, to be, trying to think of what I'm trying to say here, to be a guide for them. When you're being the leader, when you're leading, when you're showing Christ, when you're putting Christ first, that other stuff follows. You start to reach out to the outcasts. You start to reach out to those people that are marginalized, right? You start to do that because Christ did that. And so you're amplifying Christ in doing so. But you're not going to be their besties. Because when you invite them to be your besties, what happens is you're opening doors for things that they may be bringing in. And they may be doing it out of ignorance. And they may be doing it on purpose. And you have to be mindful of that. Because the enemy likes to sneak in under the guise of friendship. So there are things that you have to think about when you're including others and including the marginalized, but you have to look at it from the standpoint of you're going to lead them in Christ. Not, it's follow me as I follow Christ. That's what Paul said. Follow me as I follow Christ. Now, if I'm not following Christ, don't follow me. Or if you're not the follower. You're not the follower. When you are in Christ, you are not the follower. You will follow somebody who has the Spirit of the Lord, who has understanding, wisdom, discernment that is greater than you. Mentorships are important. You should always have a mentorship, because otherwise, if you're the smartest one in the room, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for you to be the smartest one in the room. I've been there. It's not healthy. You need to find yourself somebody who can mentor you, who knows the word, who walks in the Spirit, who has wisdom. And you should seek those people out, because that is important too. That would be Proverbs stuff, okay? Those that are in counsel with many, right? Seeking wisdom. It actually says to buy wisdom. So if you have to pay for a mentor, pay for it. But just being a mean girl because you think you are all that and a hunk of stinky cheese? No, that needs to go, because that is not the Spirit of Christ. You think, I have seen guys trip over themselves in the church for good-looking girls that are shallow. It is straight out not seeing the deeper side of somebody. All skin deep. And they appear like they're all great and good until it comes to including someone else. And then it would be like, I gotta include them. That just ruined my night. Only a mean girl knows that she's being a mean girl. Because we don't know what's on the other side of that facade. Some people are mean girls because they're in pain. They're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. And we don't know what's going on in their life. It's a possibility. It's not necessarily because they're evil. They may just be immature. Especially immature in the things of the Lord. And if they're not a Christian, well, you can't expect them to behave a certain way, right? It's when they're a Christian and they're behaving like that I really, like I said, I still see it. I still see it sometimes, and it's not Jesus. All right, so that's all I got for you today. Blessings, everybody. Thank you, Nancy, for watching. I will see you on Monday. And I'll have a report about the doggy. All right, so blessings. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll show the star of the show real quick. There she is. Good thing for her to be laying down. And I'll see you. Bye. Blessings. Have a great weekend.